remember when you're writing equations, you're really looking for how they describe the same thing in two different ways. So the Jansen family drove a total of 240 miles on their trip. This distance is 5 times the distance they drove on the first day. How many miles did the family drive on the first day? So our last sentence tells us what our variable is going to stand for. So our x is really going to stand for the number of miles they drove on the first day. So they described to us they drove 240 miles. They also described for us the fact that that's 5 times what they did on the first day. There's our two descriptions of the same thing in two different ways. 240 miles is also 5 times. Times in math, if you don't stop, I'm going to make you take that watch off every single day. Leave it alone. Times in math means multiply. So 5x equals 240. Right here, you should have chosen 5x to equal 240. How do I solve for x? Divide each side by 5. X equals 48, I believe, right? 48 miles. 48 miles. Part B says there are 240 students in Misty's school. This is 5% of the total students in the district. How many students are there in the school district? That's our unknown. Two ways of describing it. 240 students in her school, 5% of the total. 240 students in the school, 5%. I can't use a percentage. What do I do to that number? How do I do that, Gatlin? Yep, which gives me 0.05x. That's what should be here. To solve, I divide by 0.05, and you get 4,800 students. 4,800 students. 31. Your equation, 1.5x or m equals 22.2. Divide both sides by 1.5. X ends up being 14.8 miles. Now here's the deal. I know you can look the odds up in the back of the book, you guys. But writing down an answer that you have no idea how to do doesn't help you. And that's why we do repetition. That's why I grade you on completion. You want to write down the answer from the back of the book? You go for it. But when it comes to your quiz next Thursday, you're going to have no clue what's going on. When it comes to today and you're supposed to work on your own, or tomorrow when I build on what we've been doing, don't cheat yourself out of that knowledge. That's what you're doing. People are always like, oh, you're cheating. Well, I consider it more of you're cheating yourself out of your own knowledge, your own chance to learn something. I'm going to tell you right now, my algebra kids, the kids that are taking what you're going to take next year, are doing the exact same thing you are. We are building the foundation for what you do next year. But next year, they're going to expect that you already know it, and we rock and roll on already the second lesson. Okay, you're building a foundation for me. All right, go back. Anything 1 through 11 or 29 that you want me to go over. Today's the same exact thing as yesterday. So if you got something wrong and you're unsure, let's go over it. Nobody? Nothing. You can do this with your eyes closed. All right, let's see if you can. So here's the note sheet. Let's go over this together. Circle back with me. You guys do the teaching today. You tell me what to write. I want to solve for you. I'll always take care of the first step and draw the line down the middle. What do I do here? Gatlin. Okay. I wind up with bingo. Gatlin's out. He can't help you anymore. Good job. Okay. Pay attention. There's a plus sign between that 9 and you. Don't try to divide that. There's a plus sign. Okay. The opposite of a positive 9 is to subtract 9. Here's your next one. 45x equals 10. I'll take the first step. I'll draw the line through the equal sign. What do I do? Isaiah. Hold on, back up. Do what? By 45. I thought you said 0.5. That's why I got confused. Sorry. Divide by 45. Okay. Okay. Now, careful. Do you divide 45 by 10? He's right so far. But really, 10 divided by 45. Don't change it. Don't change it. But when you type in 10 divided by 45, what do you get? A decimal. Clear your calculator and don't look at it. This is where I talk about you guys get so calculator happy. You're like, it didn't give me the right answer. Now what do I do? How does it turn into a decimal? How do I change it to a fraction? You typed in 10 divided by 45. Just drag that down. That is the fraction answer. Except what? Somebody said it. You got to simplify it. What can you divide out of both? A 5. So if you type it in, and Isaiah was totally right, you divide by 45 because that's your coefficient. If you type it in, you get a decimal. Ms. Hopp hates decimals. Reduce that. You end up with 2/9. 2/9. Whatever you typed in to get that decimal, just drag it straight down and then look to reduce it. Okay? All right, Isaiah's out on that one. Let's go to the next one. 6/5 W equals 42. Pick up.
So first you turn 42 into a fraction, everything but 1 under it.
Okay.
And then put the reciprocal of 6/5 over to the side, and then you cross simplify for 42 and 6.
Okay, hold on. What is the reciprocal of 6/5?
5, 6.
Okay, so we multiply by 5, 6 on both sides. Okay.
The 6/5 in this 6 is left cross out, and the 6 and 42 squared, so then 42 will be 7, 6 from 1, and then you multiply.
Yep. Keep going. Yep, you're right.
7 times 5 would be 75 for 35 over 1, but then 35.
Perfect. Nicely done. And those are the steps you want to see. Question or just stretching? Stretching. Okay. Jacob's out. Good work. Dum, dum, dum. That you got this one? All right. He's got it. Hopefully he didn't get calculator happy. What are you going to do?
You look at the -6W, and then you would, because that's multiplication, by -6 times the W, you actually flip it to the addition. So it'd be -6 divided by -6.
Okay.
So then you go over to the fraction, and so if you were to turn -6 into a fraction, it'd be -6 over 1. But because you're multiplying it, you flip it to 1 over -6.
Okay.
-1.
You know exactly what you're doing. You are spot on. You are the first person today that can spot this. Good work. Okay. Everybody agrees with what he's doing, right? And then most of us went like this, and then we typed that in our calculator, and we got the answer. But we have no work to show Ms. Hoff how we did that, and we don't really know why that's the answer. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so go back to what he said. When you go to do this, you're like, you can really write -6 as a fraction, yes? By putting it over 1. So then really, my coefficient is -6 over 1. To get rid of a fraction, I multiply by the reciprocal, which would be -1 over 6. On this side, multiply by -1 over 6. These cancel. I'm left with 1W. Okay, Thad, on the left, tell me what I'm going to do now. 6 would become, 12 would become, okay?
And then you multiply -1 times 2, -2, and then 1 times 5, 5, so it'd be negative.
Can you reduce it further? Nope. Nicely done. Nicely done. Okay, don't panic because it's a whole number. Technically, we can always write whole numbers as a fraction. And sometimes, as much as we hate fractions, they actually, like in this case, they're beneficial for us. All right, good work. Thad's out for us. On the back, who can write the equation to represent this problem for me? Chris.
0.46x equals 7.3.
Agree or disagree? 100%. 46% times the number of college students were actually the same as 7.3 million. Keep going. What are you going to do now? Okay. X equals, you get like 15.8, blah, 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 like tons of numbers, right? What's your answer? I'm going to argue that. Thad's out. Peyton, what do you want to say? I'm going to argue that. Connor?
15.86957.
I'm going to argue that. JC? Going to argue that. Allison? 16 million. Why? Round to the nearest million. And people are like, millionth. No, not after the decimal. Millionth would be after the decimal. 7.3 is million. So really the label on this is million. And the label on this is million. So it's already written in million. So if they want you to round to the nearest million, they just want the nearest whole number. Nicely done. Okay. How about the second equation on this one, or the second problem? Hudson, what you got?
So I have 2/3 x equals 6.
Pause 1 second. Agree or disagree? I'm good with that. 6 miles and 2/3 of the way home. How do I solve it?
Okay, and then you divide it. You divide 2/3, it'd be 3/2.
Very good.
They cancel each other out to get 1x.
Okay.
And then you bring it over, and then you put 6/1,
Yep.
and then 6 and 2 can go with each other.
6 would become a,
3,
2 would become a.
1.
All right.
You multiply 3 times 3, get 9/1.
Which really is 9 miles. Nicely done. Nicely done. Okay, here's the deal. You have an online assignment. Don't move until I tell you all of these things. You have an online assignment, right? Does Ms. Hoff collect your work paper tomorrow?
No.
Should you do this in your head, though?
No.
I'm going to tell you, earlier today, I pulled up the program that I can see what you guys have on your computers, and I always like to monitor what you're doing. And I had a student that had a whole bunch of red problems on their ALEKS. So I was feeling terrible. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're super confused. So I go over, I'm like, hey, can I help you? Like, let me see what you have. And they're like, well, what do you mean, let me see what you have? They hadn't written anything down. I said, that's why you have these all wrong. Don't do this in your head. Guys, tomorrow we're amping this up. I want you to be able to show me this right here. What did that problem really take us? 30 seconds? A minute and a half, maybe? Okay? Show your work. Chances are you're going to get it right quicker if you actually write something down than if you try to do it in your head. All right? What time is your online assignment due? 8 a.m. What is Ms. Hoff's expectation for you to get? 100%. There's some papers left with the boxes. Otherwise, feel free to use my scratch paper. The hour is yours. If you get 100% before the end of the hour, work in ALEKS. I want you to stay in math the whole period today. Go to work.